Hi there, I'm Jim.
And I'm Claire.
Let's talk teaching. Welcome to Let's Talk Teaching, a podcast from the Center for Teaching, Learning, and Technology here at Illinois State University. I'm Jim G., and joining me once again, our director, Dr. Claire LaMonica. Hi, Claire.
Hi, Jim.
So I got this big thing behind me now.
I know there's light pouring in here.
Where is it coming from? I don't understand.
We're going to have to start wearing sunglasses all the time. Yeah.
So for those of you who may have listened to some previous episodes of Let's Talk Teaching, you know that CTLT, the Center for Teaching, Learning, Technology, has moved across campus here at Illinois State. And lo and behold, Studio G, which is also my office, there's a window.
There's a window in your office. You know what? There's two windows in my office.
This is true. Well, it's good to be the king, as they say.
Yes, it's good to be queen.
Good to be queen, yes. And deservedly so. Yeah. Well, anyway, so we're here post-move, and we're just doing a little episode today because we haven't done one in a couple weeks. Quite frankly, I'm very curious to see how this is going to sound and how much foam I have to attach to the how much foam I'm going to be decorating my office with.
How much of a padded room are you going to have here? Yeah.
Well, and it's also kind of a good test because this is a busy place and we have a lot of meetings and there are a lot of people going through the hallway, especially right now because they're still moving stuff over here. So, I'll apologize in advance to our listeners if they hear sudden drilling, hammering,
or if an electrician pops his head through our door.
Right, yeah, we're not entirely sure what's going to happen here. But we are getting towards the middle of the semester, and we always love talking about midterm for many reasons here at CTLT, including our drinking game on Let's Talk Teaching, talking about midterm chats, which we're not talking about today, right?
No, we're not gonna mention midterm chats.
And
so
we're not
stop taking a shot every time we say midterm chats.
Sorry, and we're not even talking about midterm assessments of teaching, which a midterm chat is one of, but not the only option you have. We're actually talking about good old-fashioned midterm grades.
For students.
Yes, for students, yes.
Actual grades for actual students, yes.
Yeah. Midterm grades on our campus are turned in around the 6th week, I think, right?
Yes.
So we're pretty much there.
We're just about there.
Yeah. And that's not exactly midterm. It's a little before midterm, but it's done at that time for an important reason.
Right. Well, the idea is not to get them in by midterm, but to get them in before the date, the last date on which a student can withdraw from a course.
Right.
So if a student is truly failing a course, and sometimes I have learned in my long checkered teaching career that students really don't know that they're failing a course. And so it's a good idea to let them know that, because if all of a sudden they find out they're failing several courses, it may be, that may just be too much. Mm-hmm. They may just look at that and go, I can't recover in all of these situations. Mm-hmm. So at that point, the best option for them may be to do a little selective, weeding and drop a course.
Yeah.
And then they can concentrate on doing better in their other courses.
Yeah. I've only once, have you ever had a student who dropped the course and then came back later?
In the same semester?
No, not in the same semester. But,
came back and had you for that course again? I have not.
Yeah.
But the 100 level courses that I've taught in the past were, of course, first year composition, which is required for all students, but there are also so many sections of that it would be highly unusual for a student to select to come back and have a course with the same instructor.
I had that happen once in a journalism course at another institution that I taught at. And it was awkward for the first 10 minutes, but then it worked out. And that second time around, that student was one of the better. Had really learned something about. Yeah. Had really learned something about learning. Had really learned something about. Had grown up a little bit, quite frankly.
That happens. They do that while they're here.
They do that. Well, that's a good thing. We like it when they do that. So on our campus, I know midterm grades are. It's kind of nebulous. They're required, but they're not required for all students, or they may not be entirely required, but they are a good idea, obviously.
Right. They are requested for certain courses and certain populations of students. So I believe that anyone teaching a 100 level course is going to get a request for midterm grades.
Yeah, and actually I can confirm that because I am this semester.
Oh, there you go.
And I got it for all 20 students in the class.
Okay, so that would be not at all unusual, and then that would mean the system's working the way it's supposed to work,
Right,
yeah,
right.
which is a good thing. And then you may also get requests for midterm grades for certain populations of students. So, for example, student athletes, they need to know for eligibility reasons.
Right.
The Department of Athletics needs to know that those students are in good standing. Students with certain kinds of loans, the federal government, has a stake in, and students. To be honest, I'm not sure how all of this works, but I know students have to be enrolled in a certain number of courses. They need to pass a certain number of courses, and so
Right.
on and so forth. So, for whatever the specific regulation is, then that might be one reason that you'd get a request for student midterm grade for a particular student. So, but A, it shouldn't matter why you get the request.
Yeah, you're right.
And B, having a grade at midterm earlier in the semester is just good teaching practice, providing students with a grade at that point. Students need feedback on how they're doing. They're not good at judging their own learning.
Right.
And particularly, of course, students who are new to the university. So that's why the requirement is for all 100 level courses, because those first year students, first time in college. I just learned a new there's a new acronym that I learned late this summer. It's FTIC, first time in college. So anyway, I love that for some reason.
Yeah.
But anyway, first time in college students really don't have a clue. This is ancient history, but I got straight A's my first semester in college, and I no more could have told you that I was headed for straight A's, even at the time that I went home for the semester. I mean, those were the days when professors used to put you could give them a postcard, and this is really ancient history.
And they would mail you your final
they'd mail
paper.
you your final grade.
I
and
had a
your
final
paper.
paper mailed to me once. I am old enough to where that did happen.
Yeah, so that
Yeah.
used to happen to me too, but.
Yeah.
My first semester in college, those postcards started coming in, and my mom was so excited she started hanging them on the Christmas tree. I think we were both surprised. I don't know what that says about me. Well, it says a lot about my career as a high school student, but
Right, yeah. Yeah.
I had no idea. So
Did you have a
it
trouble?
could work the other way too.
Now wait a minute. Did you have a troubled career as a high school student in terms of grades?
Oh, I had an uninterested career.
Oh, you were like
I
me.
had
You zoned out.
much-
Were you really good until like your junior year?
No. I just had much more important things to worry about in high school.
Oh, okay.
I
All
did
right.
fine. I mean, I
Oh.
got into the University of Missouri.
Yeah, well, this is true. I was going to say, yeah.
But I was by no means I was so far from being a straight A student. That was, I was not.
I had a German teacher who told my parents, well, he's getting a B in the class, and that's mainly because he's charming.
Yeah.
But he really can't
Yeah.
speak the language.
He
But
really
he's
can't do
such
that.
but he's
He's such a joy.
But he's such
Little
a joy.
Jimmy's
Yes,
such a joy to have
something
in
like
class.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So just do that with a German accent, and you'll get what the conversation was like. So it is not just about university policy and procedure and all of that other stuff. This is important information that these students need at this time. So what do you say to the faculty member? And I've been the instructor who said this before. Yeah, but I haven't given them any real meaningful assessments yet. I mean, we don't have a lot of we don't have a lot of points yet, in
Yeah.
the semester. You
Yeah.
hear that quite a lot.
Yeah, and that's a tough one. Ideally, you will have had some graded work before you have to submit this midterm grade, because
Right.
it's not helpful to anybody to just sort of make a wild guess. If you guess low, it doesn't really help, and if you guess high, it doesn't really help. So, particularly if you're teaching one of these courses where you're going to be asked to submit midterm grades, it's really a good idea to have had some graded work and to have given some feedback to students at that point. I think that most people have some sense of how a student is doing in a class, whether there's been graded work or not. And so if you feel like you could sit down with a student and say, my sense is that you're doing okay in this class, but not great. You got some room to grow. Here are some things you could do better. then, you could translate that sense of okay but not great probably into a C. I mean, that's probably
Yeah.
what a C means to you, is okay but not great.
Yeah.
If you could sit down with another student and say, "Boy, you are setting the curve in this class.
Right,
You
right.
you are doing great. I love your contributions to class discussions. Your reading journals have been fabulous.
Yeah.
You could probably, even if you haven't given grades on those reading journals or those class discussions,
Mm-hmm.
you could probably ballpark that student's getting an A or a B.
And I think that this is an opportunity to pause and talk to your students about where they're at as a group. You can say, "Look, I'm going to be turning in midterm grades, or whatever you call them. I'm going to be, or progress reports. I'm going to be turning this in." And if it's on 100 levels class, you say for all of you, and or you say for some of you. There's some of you I'm required to do this for. Or I'm being asked to do this for. We haven't had a lot of grading done yet this semester, so this is going to be my estimation based on your attendance and everything else. So once you get that, if you have questions, come talk to me, and I might seek you out and do all that. So I think it's an opportunity to have a conversation with your students, too, to have that communication. Now, the other thing about how we turn in midterm grades on our campus here at Illinois State is you can put in more information than just the grade.
Right.
Because this goes through the university college, and especially for when you're dealing with first-year students, but I think for all students, if they're asking for it, you can also talk about how many classes have they missed, and are they in danger of failing. You can indicate that, and also they ask for open comments as well.
Right.
And the thesis is that an advisor then is going to have a conversation
With the student, and they look for patterns. They
Yeah.
really, seriously, U College is really good at this. They look for patterns for students, and they call in the ones that look like they're at risk. So that's an important thing to do.
So struggling students in the sense of
Students who are struggling to do well in your class.
Right.
All right.
Right.
So maybe they're not as sophisticated of readers as they need to be. Maybe they aren't as experienced writers as they need to be.
Okay.
Maybe they are,
right.
afraid to contribute to class conversations, whatever.
Right. So as we're kind of wrapping up this brief episode, what else do we need to keep in mind?
So I think a couple of things. One is you use the word progress report interchangeably with midterm grade.
Oh, yeah, and that's a mistake.
So, it was a understandable mistake. But yes, Jimmy, it was a mistake.
Thank you.
There are no wrong answers, but that was one.
That was wrong.
Yeah. So midterm grades we're asked to submit midterm grades about week 6, and progress reports are requested about week 11.
Yes.
So that's kind of a second check-in for some populations of students.
Right.
So I don't know why they have different names so that they can be differentiated among.
They can be differentiated. So I know that, for example, student athletes I've had in my classes, there's usually that second check-in during the semester and whatnot.
It's really important to the NCAA that students remain eligible.
Yeah.
And it's important to the university that students, and it's important to their coaches and their teammates
Right.
that they remain eligible, because, there are universities that have had to forfeit games because it turns out they were playing ineligible players, somebody who was academically ineligible. So you just don't want to go there. And, and besides that, you want to give all students a chance to buckle down and learn better.
Right. Well, Claire, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
And that's all the time we have for this episode of Let's Talk Teaching. Find out more about our podcast. Go to our website, ctlt.illinoisstate.edu. For Dr. Claire LaMonica, for all my colleagues here at the Center for Teaching, Learning, and Technology, until we talk again, happy teaching.